Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Tavora Talks. I am your host, Cash, joined as always by my co-host and partner in cybercrime, Mr. Matt Mosley. How are you, Matt? We're inches away from DEF CON. You excited? You hyped? How's
I
life?
am super excited, super pumped, counting down the days. Cannot wait to go party in Vegas. If you guys know of any parties, send them my way. I'm definitely going to put them on the calendar so that I can be at all the hot spots and look for us wherever we're at. We're going to be recording. So yeah, I'm super pumped. Cannot
I
wait.
am too. I am too. And we have our swag that we've made. We have the stickers, we have the t-shirts, we have other fun stuff. And I think we're gonna be kind of posted up in the Blue Team Village
Yeah,
around
so
that area.
Friday around 2 p.m. We're gonna be at the Blue Team Village and then probably walking around to some of the other villages. But Social Engineering Village always fun to go to. I don't know if you've ever been to part of that, but definitely
Have not.
amazing to watch those guys work. And but the Blue Team Village, because that's our world, right? Incident response.
Yep.
We're definitely gonna be hanging out there and interviewing some people, seeing what everybody what talks everybody's been attending and what's going on in the Blue Team Village. So.
I am looking forward to it. So if you all are there, if you find us, if you see us, come stop by, flag us down. We'll ask some questions. We'll give you some swag. We'll all laugh, cry, have a good time. It'll be awesome.
Find our happy places.
Yeah, find our happy places. Think of happy things. What was that from Billy Madison? No, Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore.
Oh,
Think of
I
your
was
happy
thinking of Dumb and
place.
Dumber where he's
Oh.
in the restroom and he's like, "Find your happy place."
That's funny. But speaking of happy places, let's talk about a little bit of the happy. Well, I mean, I guess not really happy. It could be happy.
I mean, it's happy for me because I live and breathe cybersecurity. So
Yeah, new things. It's like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. How did they do that? Well, let's talk about some cool stuff that's happening in the cyber security world this week. I'm going to give just the top headlines and we'll kind of dive deep a little bit into it. So, VirusTotal reveals most impersonated softwares used in malware attacks. Then we have a new Gmail attack which bypasses passwords and 2FA, and it reads all your emails with no creds needed. That's pretty crazy. Then we got this Australian hacker has been charged with creating, selling spyware to cyber criminals. That's pretty neat. Maybe not for him, but I mean, he got taken down. And this one's pretty cool. You brought this to my attention that some mobile store owner was hacking T-Mobile employees to unlock phones, and that led to a whole can of worms. So, yeah, I mean, we'll get to it. Where do we start? You want to start with the VirusTotal?
yeah, I think so. I think it's a great spot.
So yeah, this is pretty crazy. I mean, I'm looking at the story. It's pretty much, what is it, right? Threat actors, they potentially impersonate legitimate applications, right? And that's kind of how they get in. They try to abuse this trust relationship and hopefully they pull off a successful social engineering attack. And according to VirusTotal, the most impersonated legitimate apps are you ready? 7-Zip, TeamViewer, CC Cleaner, Microsoft Edge, Steam, Zoom, and WhatsApp, accordingly.
Huh.
Which is interesting, right? And you know what comes to mind now that I saw that CC Cleaner? It takes me back to an investigation I was doing earlier this year. And I noticed CC Cleaner was there and it was being used like right before some, files were being drag and dropped and deleted and
Yep.
rewritten and whatnot. Now I'm thinking maybe it was more than what we thought it was, but they said that CC Cleaner was
Yeah.
used in their environment, so I don't think this is that, but hey, you never know.
No, I think we would have identified it if it was more than that. But it is funny how when we get called, it's always kind of like we're the last resort for that client. And you can tell like what they've already run, like CC Cleaner or Malwarebytes is always like present whenever we, get on a system because they've already tried to wipe it clean. But yeah, gotta leave it up to the pros sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean the
And then
pros
we just run
are
Malwarebytes
crafty.
ourselves. So, but we got the pro version. So, no, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
we got the pro because we're pros. But I mean, yeah, to the point of this article, it's a big factor, right? I mean, companies spend tons of money making beautiful logos, very, unique. The second you see them, you're like, oh, I know that logo. It's Skype, it's WhatsApp, it's. Zoom, right? How can you like think otherwise if you see that icon? And they use that, they hide it, they do shady things, they put malware, or maybe it is the software itself, but you downloaded it from not the source site,
Yeah.
download from like a mirror site or unknown site, and there's a couple lines of extra code in there that obviously, once you click it, launch it, install it, boom, chaos.
Right. Because all you need is a stager to go and grab the rest of the stuff. But yeah, they're in the article it's saying 2.5 million suspicious files downloaded from the top Alexa's top 1,000 websites. So
Wow, that's crazy.
that's a lot of freaking suspicious files.
That is a lot. That is a lot. 2.5 million suspicious files, 101 domains, top 1,000 websites, and somewhere here it's saying, misuse of Discord has been well documented. Discord's getting involved. How's that? I feel like we need to bring in one of our colleagues who is
The
avid
Discord
supporter,
export.
the Discord expert, and get their opinion and say, hey, are you behind this? Do you know anything? But yeah, so I mean, what can people do? I think end of the day is on any applications that you kind of bring in, even if it's an email that, seemingly says, hey, Zoom, this is a new update, click here to launch it, right? And rule number one, don't click on anything,
Yes.
verify, trust but verify. And yeah, I guess what else? I
I
mean,
mean, you can always compare like the file hash, but
yeah, for sure. That's like, I say
that's
more
something
advanced.
that more technical and advanced users do. I don't think your average user wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah,
I think
for
if you're in
sure.
an organization, the organization should be approving what software can be installed on your machine and blocking these malicious executables and also URLs. Also, endpoint protection, keep it up to date. Make sure that it's got the latest signatures and use something like a next gen antivirus that will detect the behavior, not just the signature. So if the file that you did download starts doing weird stuff like reaching out to Amsterdam or Eastern Europe, maybe flag that as a suspicious piece of software. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, what can you do? I guess for the basic users out there, at the very minimum, if you get an email from Zoom saying click on this link and download an update, that's not a real thing. Zoom's not going to send an email and ask you to update stuff. Um, if
Right.
they do, I mean, that's kind of strange. I would still just go straight to their website or launch the app and click update, from within the app. Definitely don't click a link in an email.
Right. I mean, it's the problem is it's so easy to just create these trojans to wrap legitimate files with malicious files that anybody can do it. And then you've got people that are out there selling this malware, off the shelf that people buy and then they set it up. And so, really comes down to just the availability and ease of launching these types of attacks. So
And speaking of that, you said, you can go buy it, right? Somebody's out there crafting this malware, these Trojans, and putting it on the market, and people are buying them for use, right?
yep.
It's like software as a service almost, but malware as a service. So
Yep. Malware as a service.
let's talk about this guy, Australian hacker, 24 years old, has been charged for creating spyware which is being used. This is the bad part. The spyware is being used by domestic violence perpetrators and child sex offenders.
That's
So
crazy.
that is crazy, right? And he said that he, created his first remote access Trojan when he was just 15 years old. That's insane. That's young. So, I mean, 15, 24, 9 years, he's been in the manufacturing business with intent to sell. So, I mean, you got the original days people would manufacture their own, pharmaceuticals, I guess.
Narcotics.
Yeah, narcotics and package them and label them for individual sale. I wonder how this works. Is it like every time you sold one, does that charge increase or is it just the first time or how does that work? Because I think with pharmaceuticals like depends on how much you sold, then the fine goes up accordingly.
Oh yeah. I'm sure this was based on that too. How many clients he sold his rat to. So his remote access Trojan. What a
But
name though. What's his name? John Wayne. No, Jacob Wayne John Keene.
that's
That's a
quite a name.
mouthful.
JWJK.
How many people do you know that have 4 names?
I don't know anybody that has 4 names.
My
Do you know?
neighbor's full name is 4 letters.
Who?
Two names, 4 letters.
Both names are
Two
combined on.
letters each.
Wow, that's crazy. That's easy to write out.
Yep.
That's efficient as heck. But speaking of Jacob Wayne John Keene, check this, the operation, 85 search warrants. They seized 434 devices and they arrested 13 people for using the malware. That's pretty crazy, right? And here they're saying that no fewer than 201 individuals obtained the actual remote access Trojan in Australia alone. And 14% of them were actually respondents of domestic violence orders. So
That's crazy. we do, so we work for a nonprofit. We do pro bono work for a nonprofit that protects domestic abuse victims. And so from time to time we'll get called in to do, scan their phones or review their social network accounts for any kind of weird nefarious activity, or going into their, personal email like Gmail and all that good stuff to see if their domestic abusers are accessing this stuff. And then to know that domestic abusers are actually going out there buying this type of spyware and using it to spy on their victims is pretty disgusting and pretty sad. Sad for the victims and sad that the abusers have to live that life where they want to keep abusing and taking advantage of their victims. Pretty sad.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's crazy that some people sit there on the one side and maybe hack or something to retaliate for, I don't know, political reasons or something. But this is borderline human ethics, right? And this guy's like, check this out, selling the software, 35 Australian dollars. I just converted it's about 24 bucks in US money. And they've estimated that he's netted about $300,000 to $400,000 off of selling this thing.
I was just reading like the next part where it says most of it was spent on food delivery services.
Yeah. And other consumable disposable items. So what does that mean? No one's getting that $300,000-$400,000. That's blown. He blew it, right? 24 years
I
old.
mean, have you ever ordered from DoorDash? It's easily like $100,000 just for a
Oh
burrito.
yeah, for sure. Out of that 400 grand, 100K is delivery fees. 100%. 100%. But yeah, so I mean, nutshell, they're not getting that money back. No one's getting the money back. I highly doubt
Crazy.
that kid is, putting half of it in like a S&P 500 index or anything like that.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll take his PS5
Oh,
and
and
repair the
GameStop,
gaming
baby.
system.
GameStop.
Yeah, GameStop. There you go.
Maybe he bought a lot of shib.
But yeah, so I mean, malware is always out there. New attackers are happening, and this is a new attack. You want to talk about a new attack on Gmail? This one's
Yeah,
kind
this
of
is
interesting.
interesting.
I kind of brought this to you. I think you kind of skimmed it more than I did, but new. This is a new Gmail thing. There's a good side to this, but the bad side, it's not like, I mean, it's obviously bad. They're getting hands on your Gmail stuff, but how they're doing it is interesting. So this new Gmail attack, it bypasses your entire credentials. It doesn't need passwords. It doesn't need 2FA, nothing in order to read all of your emails, right? And this is a new attack being done by a North Korean hacking group, which they're cleverly called Sharp Tongue.
Yeah.
And the malware that they're using to do all this is called Sharp Text. I wonder if that's like a brand thing. Do they have a like
Sharp
trademark?
X, like sharp extension.
Yeah, sharp everything. Sharp knife, sharp egg, sharp hack, sharp
Yeah.
malware. But essentially, this is the good part is, so they can't just do this to anybody. Like the attacker group already had to have somehow penetrated your system initially
Yep.
to then deploy this. But can you kind of elaborate on how it works? How they were going about bypassing the creds and whatnot?
Yeah, so there's probably some sort of social engineering hack that happens ahead of time, right? So that they can access or compromise your machine. Once the machine's compromised, then they install this SharpX browser extension or malware that is an extension for the browser that goes through and when you visit Gmail, basically I think what it's doing, it doesn't actually say here, but it goes through and does screen scraping. So it's gathering all the text on the browser and then
Got it.
exfiltrating it out, which requires them to not do any kind of, login credential theft. It bypasses two-factor authentication. So the headline's a little glorified, but it's true, it's not wrong, right? It is bypassing two-factor and it is not using login credentials no matter how strong your passwords are. So but it's pretty interesting, I think. But the takeaway here is that it's multi-layer, right? Like it requires some planets to be aligned for this to be executed. It's not something that just happens. And if you're just the average citizen, I doubt that the North Korean hacker group Sharp Tongue is targeting you. It's more for uh nation state type attacks. So
Got it. Got it. Got it. So the regular guy out there, we can be, a little peace of mind, I guess, that this isn't happening to everyone. You're not the intended victim.
correct. But with that, some of these types of attacks, once they get documented and they're in the media, then some of the copycats come out there and create, versions that is for the consumer so that they can start hijacking and taking advantage of people. And, eventually, I think in more often than not leads to ransomware somehow. So,
Yeah, I mean, I hear that, right? So I guess, once a proof of concept goes online, or then it's downhill from there, or, you're at least giving people the idea that, hey, this is what we did.
yep,
Go do the same thing. And I'm sure somebody will figure it out, right? But
exactly.
that is crazy. I mean, I don't know how to say it on the good side, but Google did confirm that, the extension code the malware uses is not in the Chrome Web Store. So I guess Google is doing their part to make sure that this is not just readily available and it's not really in their system. Is that what they mean by that? I
That's
guess.
correct. Yeah. Yeah. It's not something that's just readily available. It has to be put there by the attacker. So you're not going to accidentally click on anything or accidentally get installed. It's deliberately placed there by the bad actor. So,
But yeah, shout out to North Korea for coming up with this new interesting thing.
right. Like
Sharp
the
Group.
article says at the end, right? Directly targeting Gmail content is likely espionage oriented.
There you
So,
go.
so if you're involved at a high level in our deep state government, they're after you. Just kidding.
They're after you. Sharp Tongue. The Sharp Tongue group is after you. They're gonna come grab you. They're gonna read you. But I feel like so they can't really go through the inbox and just start browsing around. It's literally whatever pops on the screen. They're just gonna scrape it,
Yeah,
right?
the user so they have to compromise the system, install the extension, and then the user has to browse Gmail. So, like I said, there's a few or AOL. It's what the
AOL. Who
articles
has AOL still?
I don't know.
Is that a thing? I thought they're still alive.
But yeah, the planets have to align somewhat for this attack to happen. But I mean, if you're on the system long enough and you go undetected, eventually that person's going to go to Gmail or AOL, as the article says. So.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if the guy's just like living in there and it's open, like you said, they're just taking whatever they get and then they'll figure out what they got later, I guess, right? So, but that's gnarly. I mean, people are
Dude,
always doing shady
1.5
stuff.
million people still have AOL.
Really?
That results in $180 million of annual revenue.
That's crazy. 180 mil from 1.5 people, 1.5 million people.
Something like that.
That's a lot.
According to CNBC.
So I guess this what I guess this is a side note. If you're using AOL, maybe don't use AOL.
Stop.
Stop, yeah. I feel like if you're using AOL, those people out of those 1.5 people, maybe 1.4 million of them are still using dial-up. I don't
In
know.
2015, 2.1 million people were still using AOL's dial-up service.
Oh my God.
What the heck is going on?
What?
How
I
do I
didn't
get
know
in
that
on that
dial-up still
action?
exists.
I I mean, we had a modem caller hotline the other day, and I loved it was music to my ears, but I don't know anybody that still does dial-up.
Yeah, let's see. Dial-up internet is still exists. Yeah, it still does.
Crazy.
That's great. I mean, I don't even have like any. I don't even know if I have a phone jack in my house. I know my parents' house. I ripped them all
Uh,
out. I put
I have
Ethernet.
a jack, but I don't have service, so
Interesting. Interesting. Well,
it's
we've come a
yeah.
long way.
Yeah, definitely. You remember
But well,
like
I
the
mean,
what was it 26K? You know, it was before the 56K modems. I had the 28 whatever.
28.8.
Yeah, the super slow one.
Yeah, that's that. Download 4 songs on Napster and wake up three
Yeah.
days later and it's
I think I
finally
told you
done.
this story before. Like in college, I was taking a Oracle database class and we had to download the SDK and the software development kit. And back then dial-up, 100 megs would take you a whole day, if not more. Right. And I think this SDK was like 400 megs. And so I let it run for a couple days. And then my dad came in and answered the phone and disconnected me because back in the day, that's what would happen on dial-up. And I ended up just dropping the class because I was like, I'm not going to sit through and download that again.
That's funny, man.
Good times.
Well, those X number of million people still on dial-up. I don't know, just call somebody and
Buy a cell phone and get a hotspot.
anything. Anything.
T-Mobile sells them
I feel like the burner phones at the grocery store have faster internet than dial-up nowadays.
for sure.
But I don't know. The rest of the world seems like they're on high speed. Speaking of high speed and mobile carriers, let's talk about T-Mobile. Fill me in on this T-Mobile story. I'm kind of browsing the article now, but you have all the
Yeah.
details.
So I'm not even going to attempt to say this guy's name, but T-Mobile retail store owner in Los Angeles, California, has recently been found guilty of $25 million scheme where he illegally accessed T-Mobile's internal systems to unlock and unblock cell phones.
Woo!
So yeah, pretty crazy. So for 5 years, this guy ran a scheme where he had a website that you could go to and you could pay him to unlock your phone or unblock your phone. And essentially, the way he would do this was he was gaining access to multiple employees with high level privileges. And he was doing that with sophisticated social engineering phishing emails. Because he worked for T-Mobile, he had, those sample emails of legitimate emails, and he would use that to send it to these employees and then, steal their
Oh,
credentials and then leverage that information within the internal network so that he could, go in and make whatever changes he needed to. And I guess he was charged with 20 years for
no,
each wire fraud, 20 years for conspiracy to commit money laundering, 10 years for money laundering, 5 years for unauthorized computer access, 5 years for accessing a computer to defraud, and 2 years for aggravated identity theft. Dang.
dang, man.
Dude.
Yeah, here it says it's
Throwing the
official.
book at him.
Yeah, that like they're gonna officially say how many years total. I guess here it says October 17, but
Oh, that's his sentencing date. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
these are like the maximum imprisonment time for each count.
Gosh,
But from the
he
looks of it,
compromised over 50 employees. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, 50 people.
Yeah.
Dang, T-Mobile gotta. I mean, like to that point, that's full insider threat. That's tough, right?
Oh, yeah.
Insider threat's tough.
Well, so we use Flashpoint Security as our like threat intelligence platform or one of our threat intelligence platforms. But if you go on there, if anybody uses Flashpoint, there's a field that has like a whole insider threat report dashboard that they created, and it goes and it pulls information off the dark web, right? All these people advertising insider access. So like the Lapsus group, right, where they were paying people access to big Fortune 500 companies, Okta, Okta. But T-Mobile, whenever I go on there and look at that dashboard, T-Mobile's the number one advertised one, right? Like there's always
Wow.
someone on there advertising that they have T-Mobile access. And I wonder how much of that's real and how much is like an FBI agent, but
Oh, good call.
but it's
Good
still
call.
funny, like, of all the providers, like, I don't really see AT&T a whole lot, but T-Mobile for sure is on there. As a T-Mobile customer, it's concerning. So,
That is. I mean, these big guys always get popped. They're the biggest targets for obvious reasons. The
yeah.
bigger the guy, the more money. But
Well, my social security number is out there thanks to T-Mobile. So
yeah, I'm also a T-Mobile customer.
I was
So,
notified that my social security number was out there because of the T-Mobile breach. So.
oh, great.
Like directly related to it. I'm like, oh, thanks, T-Mobile. Still enjoy my free Netflix though. I've sold my social security number for free Netflix.
That's crazy. Was it worth it? I mean, Netflix is
I
going
mean,
up
I get
kind of, so
what have
maybe
I
it was
gotten
worth it.
so far? I've gotten Pandora for free, MLB TV for free, Apple TV, AAA, Netflix. Like that's worth it.
Yeah, I think it could be a
It's
good
not a
trade-off.
bad deal. My social security number is out there from other breaches too. So Experian or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, Experian took down like half the US in one shot, man. But yeah, crazy time this week. A lot of stuff happening. Um, I wonder what's gonna happen next. I wonder how, if the hacker world's gonna slow down while everybody's in at DEF CON, or is it gonna speed up because everybody's at DEF CON? I wonder what's gonna
That's an interesting observation because I don't know if you noticed, but like there was a lot less quote unquote patriots on the internet now that Ukraine and Russia are involved in a war. Um, I think the Russians are too busy dealing with their own mess that they couldn't be so-called U.S. quote unquote patriots over here with their disinformation campaigns. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next week at Black Hat and DEF CON. Although there's a lot of free time in the hotel rooms, so
Oh yeah. And to that point, it's interesting. I was talking to a friend of mine and I mentioned to him, I said, "Hey, I'm gonna be in Vegas next week." He's like, "Oh, no kidding. What days are you going?" "I'm gonna be there too." And I'm like, "Wait, what are you going there for?" He's like, "I just gotta go do some personal matter, right?" I said, "Are you staying at a hotel?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah." Why? I'm like, no matter what you do not connect to Wi-Fi when you're in Vegas.
yeah. Or if
Do
you do,
not
get on a VPN right after.
Yeah, do not. I'm like, just stay away from it. I didn't even care explaining the VPN to this guy. I'm like, just use your cell phone, man. Don't do anything else.
Yeah. It's
Which, I
fun
mean,
though. I mean, for those that have never been, just walk around and look up, like especially at whatever venue DEF CON is at. Just look around and you'll see random access points just taped to the ceiling, and there's definitely your stuff's being hijacked. So they used to have, I don't know if they still do, it's been a while, but they used to have the Waka or the Hall of Shame, and
what's that?
it was a projector that would just paste up plain text username and passwords for people that were logging into websites on the network, on the
Oh
hacked network.
man,
And
no
so you could just
way.
watch all these people access stuff. So
That's gnarly.
yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go off radar for sure myself. Bluetooth off, airplane mode on, and I'm gonna walk around and enjoy my time.
I mean, you don't want random airdrops on your phone.
As much as
Might
I
it might
love
be
random
fun. You don't know what you're gonna
airdrops,
get.
yeah, you never know. You never know.
Like a
If it's
grab bag.
I wish I could put like a open disclaimer like here's my thing. If you're gonna airdrop me, just send me good stuff. You know?
I can guarantee, maybe not guarantee, but I can, with 99% certainty, it's not going to be good.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna send me a gift card to Amazon, that's for sure.
Maybe some goatsy and some anyway. We'll keep this PG, family friendly.
Yeah, yeah. For now. For now.
But
But
excited to see everyone. Definitely stop by and see us. We're going to be at a couple different events and a couple different parties. We'll post them up on Instagram, Twitter, and some other places. And then we're also going to do some live recordings, and I think that's going to be posted up on YouTube and some other places, wherever we have access to and wherever our marketing team allows us to. So, so be on the lookout for that. And then, our website, we got to get back up and running. It was just redirecting to YouTube. I got to just put something up there so we can paste and post our live stuff. But yep, definitely see you there and looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it. See you all there. We will be in DEF CON again. Come find us. We will be in Blue Team Village and different villages, but 2 p.m. Blue Team Village. Come
On
check
Friday
us
at 2
out.
p.m. Yep.
Come answer some questions, get on the radio show with us, and get some free swag. Aside from that, looking forward to Vegas and seeing you all there. Any final words, Mr. Mosley?
No, I'm good.
You're good. We got it all out of our system. So that's the news of the week. See you all in DEF CON in Vegas, and till next time.